Hello, and welcome to Lumberjack Impact. I'm your host, Autumn Gray. Lumberjack Impact is the show where we highlight amazing faculty here at SFA and explore all things that make our college great. With us today is Dr. Carmen Montana-Schalk. Dr. Montana is an associate professor of biology at SFA, specializing in freshwater fish ecology and evolutionary ecology. She is widely published and has taken students on trips around the world to study fish ecology and freshwater ecosystems. Dr. Montana-Schalk, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to come and talk a little bit more about our research, about opportunities for our undergraduate and graduate students here at SFA. So I'm very excited to share more information about the amazing research that we are doing here at SFA.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about you. So what inspired your original want to research biology?
So, well, I will say all start about, growing close to rivers, streams. So I actually grew up in Venezuela, my former home country, and I was always fascinated going fishing with my dad and, exploring these streams, very shallow streams. And then as a college student, I spent the whole time just working in a museum in Venezuela, helping with the collection, going sampling. And so through that, I guess was so passionate and excited about aquatic ecosystem and learning about the biodiversity of these aquatic ecosystems, in particular in South America, in the neotropic, that we have such a high diversity of freshwater ecosystems and organisms. So that was one of my inspirations, I guess, for, to do the type of research that I am doing right now. So then I came to the United States. I went to Texas A&M University to do my graduate program, my PhD, and work with some of the most amazing aquatic ecologists, and Dr. Kerwin Miller, one of my major collaborators still in the fields of freshwater ecology and fishery sciences. So, and once here in Texas, I continued doing my research in different rivers here in Texas. And up to date, I still continue working and doing research in these major rivers like the Neches River, the Sabine River here in East Texas. As you all know, this is a very diverse area, ecoregion, in freshwater organism, but also a lot of diversity on, forest ecosystems. So I'm very lucky to be here in East Texas.
Yeah. So tell me about your research program and maybe how your want to do this kind of research as you grow up kind of impacted what you base your projects on.
Yes. Well, my major research right now, and well, it has been for a very long time, is studying freshwater ecosystem, understanding how communities, and particularly fish communities, are adapted, are responding to different environmental conditions, even to anthropogenic effects or activities that affect aquatic ecosystems. So I study food web, I study relationship between different organisms in this system, but also study energy sources supporting all of these aquatic organisms within this ecosystem. So that is one of the major projects, but also we are studying a lot of the species here in Texas, for example, species that are considered a conservation concern for the state. So there is a lot of decline in some of the species, or the fish species, because human activities within this ecosystem, like flow modification, like dam construction, and that have affected species that right now we are starting to look at thus a status. What are they doing, and how are they doing? So that is another big project in different rivers here in Texas that my lab is conducting. Another big project that my lab actually have been leading for many years, over 10 years, is tropical rivers in South America. And that is one of the projects where I have had the opportunity to bring a lot of students, including now, well, I arrived here at SFA in 2019, and since then, I have been bringing students to not only to South America, but involve a lot of the undergraduates in different research projects here in Texas. So it's a great opportunity for them because, as you know, there are training for, for the field of like jobs or going to graduate school. So they have been phenomenal for them for that training of our students. So yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed also on your website that you do collaborate with a lot of universities and other labs. How do you guys work together and conduct your research?
Yeah, of course, collaboration is essential in any field in biology. And yeah, I have extensive collaboration all over. So here in the United States, I do a lot of collaboration. Here in Texas with Texas A&M, I have several collaborators there, in UNT, and University of West Texas, A&M, in North Carolina, in Florida. So basically here in the U.S. with many different universities, and that is what brings and made our research so extensive, because my expertise is primarily in ecology, aquatic ecology, but I collaborate with many other people like geneticists, taxonomists, because we describe species, we have to understand how those populations are doing. We have to do many other type of side projects that will complement our research questions. So it's very essential that you have collaborators. So overseas, I do close collaboration with University of Guyana, my home country, where I bring a lot of the SFA students. I also have collaboration with researchers in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, where I also conduct research. And I have collaborators also in Africa. So it's very extensive. In Central America, I have conducted several projects in Mexico in collaboration with a professor from the Colegio de la Frontera Sur. It's a very well-known research institute in Mexico. And of course, other places in South America, Brazil, I still have very good collaborators. And whenever we have chance, we actually go there to conduct our research. So it's very extensive, but if you actually look at my website, it's like we are conducting research all over basically the world, trying to test questions regarding with fish community, fisheries ecology, how are fisheries doing globally, because we have high impact in global fisheries, not only because climate change, but also because of overharvesting or overfishing. So, and again, my focus are primarily freshwater fish communities. So it's super important to understand what is going on with the fish that are essential for consumption, right, for the common economies of many of these countries.
Yeah. So digging a little deeper into your research, tell me about how your role as principal investigator of the International Research Experiences Grant for Students. Tell me about that role.
Yeah, well, I have been always very, passionate about writing grants. So all the students that I have right now in my lab that are supported under different grants, like state grants. Here in Texas, I have funding from different state agencies. International work is primarily funded through federal agencies like the National Science Foundation. So I have this program that is called the IRES, is International Research Experience for Students. So that program has allowed me to bring several cohorts of students for training in tropical aquatic ecosystems. So these students, they get full stipend to go, every season paid for them, and they get to interact, learn about the experiences, the culture, education of this country where they go, and work in collaboration with fishermen and local community. Besides that, they get this experience, they also get the research experience that allow them to not only be trained, but collecting data and working in their own undergraduate projects. So that is the most exciting, I will say, because they actually get to train, they actually get to learn about the whole process of what research is about. One that are bad in the US, they still continue working in the lab, but I can see how the experience that they obtain during this research actually allow them to grow as a professional, but also network with many other people, professionals internationally, but also when they go and present this information in scientific meetings, it's very rewarding for them to be able to actually disseminate that information and talk about their own experiences But also here at SFA, like many students and has reached out to actually, they want to participate. Unfortunately, it's just very few people that I can select to bring to this international trip. But I wish, we have more funding sources, or, I am gonna be writing more grants and see if I am able to continue bringing students overseas, because it's for their professional formation is very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, so very briefly, how would you say that this impacts the students, these grants? How would you say it impacts the students in their future?
Well, the first impact that I will talk about is their professional development, right? So once the student actually, they are selected, it goes through, there are many students that apply. I want to bring all of them, but it has to go through a process, right? So they actually get to have that professional development training that is essential for them when they are going to apply for job or graduate school. But also, beside that, they are working, they are actually having a stipend that will help them to continue with their education here at SFA. So there are many aspects that benefit the students through these grants. Yeah.
Okay. So just to wrap things up, where could our viewers go to find out more information?
Yeah, of course. A lot of my information of everything that we are talking here is in my website, Carmen Montana Aquatic Ecology Lab at SFA. So, and under some of the sections in my website, you can also look at all my publications, opportunity for graduate students, and photos and descriptions of all the research projects that we have in the lab. So it's a lot of information for people to learn more about our program at SFA.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and telling our viewers about this. And thank you guys for joining us for another Lumberjack Impact. If you'd like to see more episodes like this or other Jack TV programs, check us out on YouTube at JackTV-SFA. We'll see you next time. Axum!
This program is brought to you by the Department of Media and Communication at Stephen F. Austin State University.